Hello, everyone. Hopefully, this is working. I am streaming live using a new piece of software, which is StreamYard. And so, because StreamYard is different than some of the other platforms it's different than Facebook. I don't know what it does with YouTube, but it's different than Facebook. Facebook wants to know that it's okay for people to see your name and that you commented. So if you do want to comment, there is some text that says, click here to give StreamYard permission. So if you just click there, there's just a little box, a little click that StreamYard gives you that says it's okay for people to see your name. And then I can see who is commenting. So that's something new if you're in my group. So, welcome, 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 whether you are live or on the replay. If you are live, you can drop the word live. If you are joining me on a replay, you can say replay. However, you are joining me, I'm so thankful to have you joining me. My name is Coach Kathy, and I help women quit the sugar cravings so that they can have the energy and the mental clarity to reach their goals and take care of themselves. This doesn't mean saying no forever. This doesn't mean total deprivation. This really means balance. And there are some specific strategies that I teach that help with really crushing the cravings so that you don't miss out on life, and that you also are not stuck in those cycle of cravings. So stick with us and come join us in the Facebook group Conquer Your Sugar Cravings if you'd like to know more. So I wanted to talk about today's topic, which was quitting sugar and quitting alcohol. Good afternoon. So I went to a big party school. I went to University of Massachusetts at Amherst, which at the time was considered a huge party school. It actually used to be called Zoo Mass because it was literally such a zoo. It wasn't considered, a fantastic school back then. Hello. Love everyone commenting. It wasn't considered a fantastic school back in the day. I think now it has a much better reputation, but it definitely was kind of a zoo at the time. I remember my first night at UMass. I was in the residence area that's called Southwest, which is the biggest residence area and is also the residence area with the most partying. I remember the first night of just the sun went down and it was like a jungle. Every People were screaming out the windows, and in Southwest there were these big towers. So literally people just scream out of the windows into the area because it echoes off all of the tall buildings. One time somebody literally threw a TV from the 20th floor out the window. I think they tried to find a way to prevent that. It was also a huge drinking school as well. So alcohol was not allowed in the dorms, but they would sneak kegs in to the dorms. I remember my neighbors down the hall from me they'd get a big inside the dorm, they'd get a big trash can, fill it with a trash bag, and they would make punch from grain alcohol. So that was kind of how it was. I was not a big drinker, but I definitely did drink with everybody else when all of that was happening. I definitely had hangovers. I remember being in class feeling like I needed a seatbelt for my desk because the room was spinning so much, which was terrible. I remember not feeling good so much of the time. And what really kind of sent me over was during my senior year, I just had this bronchitis that I could not shake, even after antibiotics. So I had had enough with this. I really did not feel great. Did I need this volume of alcohol or really any alcohol to enjoy myself and have fun? I'm an extrovert. I really don't need alcohol. I can be weird and fun all on my own. So I wanted to quit that and feel good and still have fun. So I did it. I quit drinking. And I want to be clear that I didn't stop drinking because it was out of control. I didn't stop drinking because I felt like I couldn't live without it and it was an addiction. I didn't crave drinking. I just felt so much better and healthier and clearer without it. I really just felt so much better without it. So I did quit drinking, and no one could understand why. Everyone had an issue with it. So at parties, I would, "Oh, aren't you drinking? Where's your cup?" So I would have a cup of water or something during this period of time, and people would wanna refill it with beer, and if I didn't, then they'd wanna know, "What's wrong with you? Why not?" Some people then didn't wanna talk to me anymore if I was not, also drunk with them. I saw my advisor one time, which was actually not an easy thing to do at UMass. UMass is such a giant school, and at the time, they really didn't make it easy for you to find an advisor. So this was before the days of email and texting. So perhaps there was some mail about who my advisor was. I have no idea, but I remember having to take pains to seek out my advisor to kind of get some advice. When I finally found my advisor, they had a form for you to fill out before you go and you talk to the advisor. And one of the check boxes on the form was, "Do you have a problem with alcohol?" And I checked yes, only because my problem was that everybody else's problem was that I didn't drink. Everybody else had a problem with it. That was my problem, and it kinda drove me crazy, and it kind of I felt in some ways a little bit ostracized to be at a school like that and then, quit drinking. My roommates couldn't understand it. I tried to explain it to them like, "Hey, this is a good thing. You have a designated driver all the time." Um, hello, Facebook user. I can't see the names here because of StreamYard. So there, if you click on this little StreamYard bar, StreamYard text, you can say to StreamYard that it's okay to see your name if you want to do that. It's up to you. So everybody had a problem with me not drinking. Oh, hey. Hey, Debbie Hill. So everybody had a problem with me not drinking. That was really the issue. And sometimes this dynamic can happen when you're quitting junk food and sugar as well. So, for example, you might already have kind of an identity as, the good time dessert person. Maybe you're known as the cake buddy. You might have rituals that you love, but you have to rethink. So I remember my mom and I had this great ritual that, was actually great fun. And you can rework these things, but sometimes there's a little, with certain people, there can be a little bit of pushback on it. But we would always, this was back in the days when I was having a lot of sugar. We had these, those, I can't remember what they're called now, but anyway, there was like these snack cakes that came together in a pair, and we would get a pack of them, and we had this L-shaped couch, and she would lay on one of the L's, and I would lay on the other L, and we would open up this package, and she would have one of the pieces, and I would have the other pieces while we watched Oprah, or we'd be driving to Cape Cod to go camping for the weekend, and we'd split one of those, and so those are some rituals that are developed around that, just like with alcohol that you can tend to have some rituals that are developed around certain things. Also, there are other rituals of when you're sad, let me treat you with this. When you're happy, let's go celebrate with that. There are all these different ways that sugar is really part of our lives. And there can be a lot of social pressure around sugar and junk food. And there can be some pushback with quitting the sugar as well. You might kind of encounter some of the same things. So, a lot of times, what's interesting as well is that many times people who are former alcoholics also end up as sugar addicts. So, one of the ways that this can happen is that the alcohol provides serotonin, and then, of course, the sugar provides serotonin. And then also, sometimes when you're quitting alcohol and you're craving alcohol, the solution that they have you do is to reach for candy, which is certainly a good thing because alcohol is going to kill you faster, and that's a good thing. So you just have to quit the thing that's killing you fastest first. So candy and sugar can become a go-to for those things because when you're craving something, you can insert that sugar there. It meets your need for serotonin and it's, something that you can rely on. But then it's another thing that you then have to kind of quit. And certainly some sugar is fine. In fact, our bodies run on sugar. However, it's really when it becomes a raging addiction that it has, the huge health consequences that can really be disastrous. So many things, the type 2 diabetes, the heart disease, so many other things. So time after time, and this is so interesting, time after time, I hear from alcoholics all the time. I see this in quit sugar groups, that their family actually gave them a harder time about quitting sugar and junk food than they did quitting alcohol and drugs. It's the truth. So when they were quitting alcohol and drugs, their family was so supportive about their detox process, but when they're trying to eat healthy and they're quitting sugar and junk food, they get a lot of pushback. How can you not eat, you know, Aunt Edna's special dessert? How can you not do this? How can you not do that? And sometimes you get to the point where you can. So, for example, I'm at the point where I am far enough removed from the sugar that I can have a little bit of it and it really doesn't send me into a spiral. And I can have a little bit of it because it's really not that enjoyable for me anymore. I have found other things that are really a lot more enjoyable. And I can have a little of the sugar in the same way that other people have a little bit of the broccoli. So it can kind of change for you and you can actually start to love the healthy foods. But part of this whole thing is unwinding the social pressure that's associated with this. So you can sometimes, I'm wondering if anyone here who is quitting sugar now or has quit sugar in the past has experienced this. So leave a comment if you have. So have you tried to, decide to eat healthier and then you really don't want to have the whatever it is, but you feel like you have to. You feel like there's some social pressure there. You're at this party, you have to have this special dessert and all of those kinds of things. So, um, so it's important to have some strategies to help you when you are getting over this. The first step is to really understand yourself and where you are in the process. So, if you are just beginning and you really want to kick the sugar cravings, you do need some time away from just the pure raw sugar. So, what I mean is, you want some time away from the obvious sugar. As I mentioned, there are carbs that do turn into sugar, but our bodies run on sugar. But you want to make sure that they're always paired with protein and healthy fat in there so that they're not having an impact on your blood sugar and they're not having an impact on your taste buds. So if it's wrapped in there and it's not kind of a separate, obvious thing, you can really kind of control it. Also, understand who you are. Are you the kind of person that if you have a little bit, is it going to send you right back into that spiral? In that case, you do need to protect yourself and not go there. And you need to learn that. And the way to learn that is you might try it and then keep a journal. And then you can look back and see, because I see people kind of going around the same spiral over and over and over again, where they know a little bit is going to send them over the edge. And they've been off, of junk food and obvious sugars for a while, and then they have their that's kind of the dangerous point because you can have a little bit of it and end up right back where you were. So it's important to understand if that's the kind of person you are, or if you've already kind of conquered it and it doesn't, and you are in a state of balance, which is really what I focus on. And I'm going to be launching a course all about being able to stay in balance. So once you can stay in balance and sustain that for a period of time, and you're pretty confident it's not going to send you into that spiral, then you can have a little bit of it. But it is important to have a toolbox of what to tell other people in these social situations. First of all, is decide before you go. So before you are in these situations, decide before you go. Now, sometimes, the sugar just shows up and you can't help it. But in most cases, where it happens is you're going to an event. The problem is that food is love. Yeah, it's true. It's so true, Deb. Food, it can be love when in this society. And so that is one of the tricky things is that somebody wants to make you something and they want to bring it to you. So what or you're at a party and they want you to have it. So, some of the things that you can say, I find that it's best to kind of be upfront. Some people use techniques of delaying. Oh, I'll try some later. I will take it home and try it later. That's dangerous because you're going to take it home and eat it for most people, right? I mean, let's be honest. That's what's going to happen. You can say, I'll try it later. They might find you later and they might ask you about it later. So I find it's best to be upfront and just say something like, I am finding that it really upsets my stomach, or I have some digestive issues when I have sugar. A lot of times when you go there, when you start talking about the digestive issues, people don't want to talk about it anymore. And they'll be like, oh, okay, whatever that is. But I find it best to be upfront with people about, oh, yeah, I can't have that right now. I'm figuring out some health issues, and I think this might be a part of it. And oh, I love it, and I'll give it to so and so. So that's one of the things that that's important to unwind and to kind of have your answer for what you're going to do in that situation. You can, send them a thank you note. So if it's somebody bringing something to you to your house, you can send them a thank you note. You don't necessarily have to eat the cookies, just because they're there, you don't have to eat all of them. So this these are important things to kind of figure out because we are entering the season of sugar. So right now in the United States, we're about 2 weeks before Halloween, which is when all the sugar comes out, and then there's going to be more sugar at Thanksgiving and more sugar at Christmas. So the key is now to decide what you will do to protect your health. So if you expect to encounter these social pressure situations and you have a way to deal with it, you'll be much better equipped with it. So again, just understand where you are in the process. If you're going to an event, decide beforehand what it is that you're going to do. Have a response that you have for people. If people are bringing it to you, then have a plan that you are going to do with that as well. But you may expect some of that social pressure that people are going to say, what, you can't, one's not going to kill you. That happens a lot. But if you're at a certain point and you've really made a lot of headway and one is going to send you over the edge, then it's okay to take care of yourself and say no to the one. So this can be particularly difficult for the people pleasers. So I'd love to know, where are you with trying to get a hold of, sugar having your body be in balance, and also the processed junk food? Are you wanting to quit and don't know how to get started? Are you in the midst of quitting and kind of hanging on? Or have you already gotten control of it and you're just trying to stay on track? So I'd love to know where you are. And if you're not watching this within the group, then I'd love to have you join us in our group, which is Conquer Your Sugar Cravings, where we focus on keeping our bodies balanced so we can crush the sugar cravings without losing our marbles. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'd love to know what you picked up from this, from today's session. Thank you.